how did you stay motivated through the identity shift? And the biggest thing like I said before, mentioning some of my teammates, they kind of brought me in together, especially during the season. I remember it was one game, and I'll give another example here. It was one game, I think we were playing against AIC, and I was getting a really good shot behind Quinn Seeger. Shout out to Quinn if he sees this, but it was a good shot of him catching a punt. And I followed behind him while he was catching a punt, and the whole team runs together in pregame. And as I'm recording, I'm trying to stay out the way because these are my guys too. Like I grew up with not grew up, but I grew up playing college football with them. So at the end of the day, I kind of know who the type of people they are. So I'm like, all right, let me get out the way, let them lock in, let them really, do what they got to do, win this game. I'm playing, I'm helping out as best as I can, but I'm not on that field. They are. So, I'm going to let them rock out and do their thing. But in that moment, while I'm kind of pulling away, trying to just get an outside look, one of my teammates, Gavin, shout out to Gavin, he came in as a freshman with me in the same class. He pulls me in with the group, and now we're all in there lit, hey, let's go. I'm recording everybody, and it's just a really close look. But I say that, I mean, me bringing up that moment, it may not sound significant, but at least for me, it really was meaningful in the sense of me feeling a part of the team again. What's good, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Turf Talk. And for this episode, we'll be talking about merging my life together and merging that off the field lifestyle with your on the field lifestyle, and just seeing how you can balance both of those areas of life and just make sure you can still be yourself within that. And mainly for this episode, I kind of want to just intro by starting with my injury. For the first episode that I made, I talked briefly about my injury. I tore my labrum in my left shoulder. For those of you who may not totally know what your labrum is, but it is in a way like the ring around your shoulder, and it's like a film of tissue that kind of keeps your arm attached to your shoulder. So I ended up tearing that on my back, the back of my shoulder. It was a posterior tear, and I ended up tearing that my junior year of my football career, and it left me out of football for my senior year of my career. So just to start with that was a big moment in my life, a very traumatic injury. I ended up not playing the next season because of that. So it's kind of a good starting point to where I kind of had to shift my focus. And I'll start by saying this. A lot of student athletes, and even with me just saying student athletes, I'll get back to that, but a lot of student athletes feel when they come to school, when they come to colleges, their lifestyle isn't being a student athlete, it's their sport. That is what they came here for. And not only that, that is what their drive is. So a lot of times when you're a freshman or a younger guy, or even just some seniors, I know some guys now that just aren't fully really invested on the schooling end to know fully what they want to do after football is over. But at the end of the day, most athletes come here to play their sport. So when it's time to figure out what you got to do, if you don't make it as far as you feel like you may have wanted to, or some injuries get in the way, or it's just taking a little bit longer than you expected, and you may not have landed where you wanted, especially with a lot of guys that I've grown up with that played at football and have grown to be great college athletes. Everybody wants to be a pro athlete. So once that reality hits to where that may not be a possibility, or there may be some variables that you can't control whether or not that gets there, it's kind of like a reality shift. Sometimes people can't handle that that realization, especially in the midst of being in school and growing up all your life, you're a college athlete, you're in school. So I'm not going to say everyone doesn't work, but and in my case, I didn't really work during college, not college, during high school as much because I was more invested to the football aspect. And even once I got to college, that was the main goal. So that was the number one priority, even over school, especially initially coming in to school. And I touched on that topic last episode, but it's just so different for so many athletes. So I kind of wanted to just mention that, especially to start this episode, because sometimes it's really hard to try to find your identity outside of your sport. And I think this is what kind of the core of this episode is going to be, kind of just showing the two different sides of who I am and how to kind of manage that and merge that, especially going into being a grad student and still trying to finish one more semester of playing football. So that's going to be the biggest thing. I want to talk about my life off the field. What have I been doing? So to start, I'm a communications and media major. So I am kind of in the field of TV production, media production. That's mainly what I want to do when it comes to cameras and lighting and photography and shooting things like that, even graphic design, um, anything of that nature. That's something that I would say I'm skilled at, and that is something that I would want to pursue, and something that I naturally do. I'll get more into this, but I create my own graphics, I create my own videos, take my own pictures. So I've been learning a lot while I've been here. I've taken television production class. I've took two of those, and even in the midst of that, it kind of helped boost my engagement on campus. Just to get a little bit deeper into the off the field aspect of it. Like I said, I'm a communications and media major, but I really got invested into the media center here on campus, and that was something that is kind of like a second home in a way for me, because once I got there, was able to do TV production one, TV production two. I was already kind of ahead of the curve because my family does a lot of production, media production. My dad owns two media production businesses that have to do with videography, graphic designs, everything along those lines. So I kind of had a head start a little bit, but after getting in those classes and really learning the details of it, I was able to figure it out in a way where I could finally start producing for myself, and that was really cool for me. But moving on from that, I ended up getting a job working with the media center. So any lectures on campus that needed to get recorded, any days where, classes, TV production classes, after I took it, if they needed help editing, needed help shooting things. I'm in like a ton of movies and commercials within that class. I have a whole portfolio of me acting like I could almost be a actor with how many scenes I have. But just being so involved there, being able to have a job and something just to make a little bit of money, especially as a college student, it just went a really long way. And not only financially did it help me, just as a student being able to make my own money, but I was able to really grow and hone my skills whenever I was there. Shout out to Burke and Lori. They really they really did a great job in mentoring me while I'm here on campus and just making sure that I learn the little things that can kind of let me just be myself and do it on my own. That's one big thing that I really want to take away from that. So to start, especially early in my college career, that's where I was at and where a lot of my foundation started. I didn't take off too much on doing my own content at that point because I was still so invested in football, and it was just a lot going on. So I wasn't fully into that yet. I was a sophomore, so I was still young. So moving on from there, I didn't fully really switch into the lane of media, like getting all the way into that, until I would say my junior year, the second semester of my junior year. I still had a job from sophomore to being a senior. I had a job within a media center, but after my injury, that was like a critical point of me being more involved within the media because I couldn't really contribute on the field. So I like even in meetings, like I would come to meetings, but a lot of times like during the spring, I wasn't active, so I'm not watching myself get better. I'm not getting no personal coaching points, but I'm just learning from what other guys are doing, and I'm kind of just there. So I was able to not take away from the being the football aspect, but it would made it easier to juggle doing both because at the time I just wasn't required to be fully invested, especially since I was hurt and still recovering from an injury. So during the spring semester of my junior season, I ended up starting streaming on my own. So I ordered everything, I learned it. I did all the research I needed to do. I made my own graphics, and looking back at it, they're trash. But that just goes to show my growth within a year. But looking back at it, I wanted to put all the work in and show for it myself. I wanted to be the one to make my graphics. I wanted to do my videos. I wanted to edit them how I wanted to do them. I wanted to be fully hands on within what I was doing because I wanted it to be something that was important to myself and something that I could look back at and be proud of, that it was something that I wanted to do for me. So I took a lot of time just investing in that. I ended up streaming like shoot for the first 2 weeks. I was streaming every single day. That was like my commitment. It was working. The first 2 weeks I streamed, I ended up getting like over 22,000 views on TikTok. Getting a lot of numbers, especially on TikTok, more than I expected, being that I was just a fresh new streamer. I didn't really know what I was doing all the way. I was kind of just making it work, figuring it out, using back ways to get a capture card and use splitters and all of this extra stuff just to figure out how I can make a good recording, using my phone to record off of TikTok and all of the just doing everything I could to get multiple streams up and just do something. And that kind of led me down the path of getting more and more invested into making content for myself. And that was kind of the spark that sparked it, especially going into my senior season, being inactive on the team. So during my summers, I would say this is an internship, but my father owns two companies, D2 Sports Network as well as Studio B, and we've been having a lot of different events. So we had we'll start with the D2 side, the sports side. We did multiple 7-on-7 events, combines, things of that nature. We went to games, hosted the Battle of the Beach, did that live stream, did a lot of different things within that, and then on top of it, on the Studio B end, we did a lot of entertainment with big artists. We did we do a lot of battle rap right now. We're the biggest, arguably one of the biggest production teams within battle rap at the moment. We're currently getting booked all the time, so it's a big thing now, especially with us. The last year or so, we kind of just started getting in battle rap, so now we're kind of deep into that and pretty integrated within that culture as well. So we kind of had, in the last year, I had my hands in a bunch of different pots, between football, battle rap, sports videography, um, doing my own content, and working here on campus and just staying in school. I kind of had a lot going on, especially in this last year, and on top of that, getting surgery. So it just was a lot of things on my plate, but that was that was kind of a good thing in my mind because I was always doing something that I wanted to do, and I didn't feel like I had to really search and find it, especially in this last year. I kind of kept myself busy doing what I loved. And going into the football season, the main football season, being that I didn't get to play, I kind of had to take up a couple different roles on the team. I couldn't really show my leadership through my play, my athleticism, my ambition towards the team, my grit. I couldn't really show that, being on the sideline. So I kind of had to find it in different ways. So I tried to just be a big mentor, trying to integrate the things that I did know as an older guy now being a senior. Even though I didn't play that year, I played 3 previous seasons, which is not common for a lot of guys my age, especially within my group. So I still had a lot of experience to give to the other guys playing. But not only that, I wanted to kind of give back to the team in a way that fit for me and that wasn't conventional, and that ended up coming out in the form of daily vlogs and weekly vlogs. So going into camp, I'm like fresh off of getting my sling off from my shoulder, but I came here with the goals of getting back in shape and just kind of trying to be sane. I talked about this in the first episode that I mentioned, um, but it's really really hard coming back off of an injury, especially going through the process of it while being around your team. I was out the whole year. I couldn't run. The second that I came back, my coaches were encouraging me to run, to get back out there, telling me how I can be helping the team, and I couldn't do it. So I kind of had to figure out, another way I could stay in it in a way, sane, not drive myself crazy. And again, like I said, that came out in the form of vlogs. So I did a vlog for every week. Once the season started, I did I did like 3 or 4 vlogs before the season. I did like just random camp days, room tours, and you guys all can check that out on my account. Room tours, everything of that nature. Just a day with me going through the meetings, um, anything along those lines. But when it came to the season starting, I kind of wanted to make it a consistent theme. So every game day, I recorded whatever I was doing for that game day, and especially for the team when I was out in uh, warm ups uh, during the game. I wanted to make sure I could get clips of my teammates that they could use forever. Um, so like one thing, and I'll give an example, but shout out to my teammate Shaq. That's my guy. But he but every time I go on Instagram, I see some of the clips that he puts together for his highlights tapes, and I just realized like, yo, half of these are clips that I shot from my vlog, and they're all they're good clips, but as a D2 athlete, not a lot of us really get that attention. You don't get a media guy taking pictures every day, every practice. You don't get a guy recording the background things, what's going on, in the locker room, on the bus, leading up to a game, after a game. You don't get that vibe of what we really do here, as a D2 program. It's unfortunate, but it's just not everywhere, and it happens. But I was able to kind of compensate for that this last season, so it was kind of interesting just seeing how well my teammates responded to it. Even for me, I kind of felt a little bit like in the way. I didn't want to be a guy that's like a distraction from the team, getting in the way of what anybody else wants to do. I still wanted to be someone that can contribute to the team and not take away from it. So it was really interesting just how the team kind of pulled me in and didn't make it a distraction as much as I thought it would be. And even the coaches mentioned they'll see they'll see certain moments where I'm recording, especially last year, and catching certain vibes and just my knowledge on certain media things. And it's cool hearing them appreciate it, even if it's for the moment, because at the end of the day, then they didn't recruit me here to do any of that. They recruited me to be a football player. So just seeing that appreciation, and just that some coaches are paying attention. It is really cool to hear about it, especially knowing too that they are invested in what you're doing in your personal life as well. All right, so I have a couple questions here that I want to talk about that I feel like are all kind of related. And the first question is going to be, was it hard to shift my focus from football to media work? And to answer that question, in short, I kind of did that whole rant that I had. But in short, it was definitely difficult. But again, because I got hurt, in a way I kind of was forced to do it. So I kind of saw it coming, but yeah, it was definitely difficult, especially at the time, because all my life, like, I did content stuff here and there growing up. I had a YouTube as a kid. I did cleat reviews as a kid growing up. I did a bunch of different content forms. But at the end of the day, this was the first time it was like the main thing that I'm doing, and I'm doing it for myself. Most of the time, in the past, when I did things of that nature, when it came to media things or put myself out there, um, my dad was kind of the one that orchestrated it in a way to where he kind of controlled the frame it went out. And not to say that's a bad thing or good thing or anything, but it didn't come from me all the time. Uh, I mean, it did, but it wasn't like something where I'm doing everything myself, and that was the difference this time. And I felt like it was kind of needed, and I think it was important for me to go through it, because I think it kind of molds the type of person that I am today, especially when it comes to balancing media and football together. How did you stay motivated through the identity shift? And the biggest thing, like I said before, mentioning some of my teammates, they kind of brought me in together, especially during the season. I remember it was one game, and I'll give another example here. It was one game, I think we were playing against AIC, and I was getting a really good shot behind Quinn Seeger. Shout out to Quinn if he sees this, but it was a good shot of him catching a punt. And I followed behind him while he was catching a punt, and the whole team runs together in pregame. And as I'm recording, I'm trying to like stay out the way, because these are my guys too. Like, I grew up with not grew up, but I grew up playing college football with them. So at the end of the day, I kind of know who the type of people they are. So I'm like, all right, let me get out the way, let them lock in, let them really, what I'm saying, do what they got to do, and win this game. I'm playing, I'm helping out as best as I can, but I'm not on that field. They are. So, I'm gonna let them rock out and do their thing. But in that moment, while I'm kind of pulling away, trying to just get an outside look, one of my teammates, Gavin, shout out to Gavin, he came in as a freshman with me in the same class. He pulls me in with the group, and now, like, we're all in there lit, like, hey, let's go, let's go. I'm recording everybody, and it's just like a really close look. But I say that, I mean, me bringing up that moment, it may not sound significant, but at least for me, it really was meaningful, in the sense of me feeling a part of the team again, um, and just feeling like I'm at the right place. That whole year was really tough not playing. I'm not used to not playing for a full year and a full season, especially being my senior season, and seeing all the guys that I came into college with finish out their last year without me. At times, it's hard staying fully invested, and just keeping your mental straight, and that really helped me out, and kind of just showed me, all right, yeah, like, I'm still with everybody, and these are my guys, like, and they care about me just like how I do them. And then the last question around this just topic is how did you struggle with being vulnerable, putting yourself out there? And honestly, yes, 100%. I'm not the type of person, like I said in my last episode, I'm not the type of person to be out there in everyone's face. I'm kind of a personal person. I like being to myself. I like playing games that are solo. A lot of the times, I like doing things alone. So now the fact that I'm, recording myself, talking to a mic, just going out there recording, vlogging, and that's the thing with vlogging too. This last year I did a lot of vlogging, so I'm out there with my phone. I'm on campus, my phone's up like this, if you can't see, but just holding it up high above my head like a selfie at all times, and that's like I'm sure you can imagine it, like someone walking like that on the sidewalk. And even in my perspective, I have to try to ignore it, but at times I'm like, I probably look crazy out here. These people really looking at me while I'm vlogging, talking to myself into my phone. But at the end of the day, that was another obstacle I kind of had to overcome and just end up being myself and not to worry about what everyone else has to say, and to just be me. And I think that was a big learning curve too. And I kind of got to get more into it. I think at times I fall off into just being not vulnerable, but just not caring what the public may say, what someone else may say, and just doing what I have to do. So sometimes, I do struggle with that. I'm gonna be honest. That's a hard thing, that I work on. But I think me making those videos through it, even sitting here now, recording myself through this podcast, it's like outlets for me to kind of get it out and just work on that every day. So it's definitely tough, but work on it. Re-entering the game. So this past semester during the spring, I just got cleared literally like a week or two before the spring semester. I was super hype about that. But after I was clear, I was full go. And, I'm the type of person where once I'm full go, I'm full go. I'm doing everything. You're not going to tell me I'm not going to do everything. And I'm going to go as hard as I can while I can. It was definitely tough reintegrating myself into football, knowing that I have to compete still at a level that is going to surpass or be at a similar level to the guys that I've been playing with or the guys that are on my team, knowing that I've been a year away from it. So I accepted a challenge. I don't back down from nothing. I accepted a challenge. It started off a little bit slow, I will say. My conditioning do got to get up a little bit, especially initially. You get out of football for a year, and even just the conditioning of it is just like, ooh, it's a little bit of a shocker. So after our first couple weeks of conditioning, I got better with that, and it became easier reintegrating myself. But I think the biggest part, honestly, is just getting back out there and doing it again. It's just all about putting it all together again. It's like relearning how to walk. I mean, obviously it's not that deep and not that that serious, but at the end of the day, like even coming back from a surgery, my arm is not the same that it was. It is different. So I have to adjust to that difference and make sure that, I know how to handle myself correctly. And even within that, just playing again outside of my injury is different. It's like you kind of gotta get back used to it again. It's a perfect example. It's like when you work out. If you take a week off from working out, once you come back and hit that gym, it's going to be a little oof. You're going to be a little sore after the first couple workouts, but once you get going and consistent again, that's when you can level out and you really make those gains that you're projected to. I know I've been yapping a lot, but thank you guys for watching and listening. That's episode 3 of Turf Talk. Thank you guys for tuning in. Please like and subscribe. And yeah, so we'll be back with another episode soon. And yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. Peace out.